2, 1. The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC. And if you would like to see a live recording of The Angry Chicken, come on out to CreateCon in Orlando this July. Tickets and info over at createconvention.net.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Angry Chicken. I am Garrett Weinzerl, that is Jocelyn Moffat, and that is Willie Dills Gregory. And we are recording, if you're watching live, a bit early because Dills is a lucky jerkface, and he's going to see Warcraft early.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was
Dallas.
the actual reason.
Yeah. I'm
Yep.
going to Dallas. I'm going to go see it in 8 hours. T-minus 8 hours.
You lucky jerk
I'm
face.
going to get so fat on popcorn and watch orcs and humans fight. It's going to be sweet, man.
That sounds like the perfect afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm so
And then
jealous.
I'm going again on Thursday. Super excited for that. I'm probably going to go again on Friday. Like, screw this. I'm going to see this movie so many times. It is... I cannot be more excited for a movie.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
and before everyone starts with the, oh, you're in Blizzard's back pocket, it's like, no, we do a show about a game that we really like, and we're just fans, because that's the whole point we're here talking about it. So yeah, we're excited about it.
Look, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Game Over Greggy show, that kind of he used to do. Where did he used to be somewhere? Anyway, now he has his own thing, but he's like a DC fanboy, right? So he loved Batman vs Superman, even though that movie was a steaming hot pile of garbage. I am going to love this movie no matter what. And I am telling you this now. I don't care.
I agree.
It could be the crappiest thing of all time. I could walk in there and they could just butcher the whole damn thing. And this is my movie. This is the movie that I will forgive all faults. I do not care. I'm
I
going to
think,
walk
like-
out of there in love with this thing, no matter what.
Chris Metzen is like pretty much moved to tears by this movie, and that's enough for me. That's enough.
Yep. Look, everybody gets their thing that's like that, you know? And this is mine. This is my thing like that. Like, if they made a movie about the Giants, it could be the worst thing ever. And I'd be like, yeah, oh my God, the Giants, man.
Yeah, for
you know?
for me, that is Star Wars. Although if you talk to me
Sure.
about episode 1 and 2, I will join you in crapping on them. But
Yeah. But when you first walked out of those movies, you were still kind of like, yeah, Star Wars. It was still Star Wars.
for episode 1, yes.
hated
Episode
it.
2, not. I kind of walked out of it being like, that wasn't that great.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it was episode 1. I was like, what, 14, 13 when that first came out. I was still like just a kid and like, yeah, Jar Jar. So,
Jar Jar rules, guys.
but this movie Warcraft is coming in real close. I'm still a little cautiously optimistic, but I'm fairly certain I'm going to love it regardless. I've been very excited about what I've seen in the trailers. Those look like they're being quite faithful to the source material, which was my only big concern. Yes, I can sit there with all of you CG nerds and be like, the CG's not that great. But I don't care because that's not what I went in for.
I don't
So
know, man, the CG looks amazing to me so far. Like from
Well,
all
see-
the trailers I've seen, those orcs are insane. Like
I think it's because like we're not artist people. Like Garrett looks at it and he sees like all little picky things, and I'm just like, orcs, yes.
yeah, but I've seen CG, you know, and
yeah,
Oh,
It looks
X-Men
amazing.
Movie? So bad. CG's so bad.
it's an uncanny valley thing, I think.
Oh yeah, with the orcs.
Yeah, it's something weird. The close-ups, I'm buying it. Like the face, oh my god, the facial expressions, they killed it. Like we got to see a screen test at BlizzCon 2 years ago, and it was a close-up on Duratan, and holy crap, they're really getting these orcs to emote. But it's like when they're pulled out and you're seeing the full body and you're seeing them fight on screen with real people. That's when I'm just like, this looks
really,
like Avatar.
I totally disagree. I think they look amazing. Like to me, they look amazing, and like that's no rose-colored glasses. Like look amazing. Like I paused the trailers at lots of moments and was like, wow, holy crap, like that looks like super graphics of the video game. If the game was like modern engine graphics,
Yeah.
like that's what it looks like. And I guess maybe like we want it to be realistic, but I still want it to look like a video game. So
Oh, I do too. I do too.
maybe
And
there's that,
that's
but,
not necessarily what
you
I think. It's just with the real people on screen.
Hmm.
Because like I like the way they did the orcs. I think they did them well. I think they look like
they look like orcs.
they look like they're orcs from Warcraft. It's just
Yeah.
that the humans don't look like humans from Warcraft because they're real humans. And when you have them
I guess
standing,
that's true,
when you
too.
have them
Yeah.
standing
Giving them
next to the orcs,
mustaches and
yeah, like they've got good armor. They've got really nice porn mustaches, but it's not quite as exaggerated.
I think at some point, someone I want there, and this is the one thing. If they don't have enough of these, I might walk out a little disappointed. But I want the Easter eggs from the game, so I want like little moments. Like I want there to be a dance scene where somebody does like an actual dance from the game. Like I want there to, I just want little things like that. Like just in the background, you don't really notice it, but there's a naked gnome dancing on a mailbox. Like just somewhere in the movie. I want that to happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that too. I'm hoping they walk into the auction house and there's some guy complaining about somebody else who just undercut them by 1 copper on King's Blood.
Exactly.
I want that.
This is it, guys. This is all Warcraft stuff, like World of Warcraft stuff.
I don't care.
See?
I don't care.
This is Warcraft 1 and 2. You have to wait for like, I don't know, the 3rd or 4th Warcraft movie before we actually get World of Warcraft gnomes dancing on mailbox.
Take your logic, Jocelyn, drag it out back, and shoot it in the head.
Look. What if we never get another one? What if this is a total failure and we don't get one?
We're gonna get another one.
Gotta
Don't
put it
you
in
worry.
this one, man.
I hope
I
so.
guess it is true. They literally like called it like the beginning or something, right? Like,
I think that subtitle is only prominent overseas.
like a tagline. It's
I
not
haven't
really
seen
like a
it mentioned
subtitle.
over here at all.
Yeah.
But on all the overseas trailers it's mentioned, so I don't know. Anyways, I'm super excited. I don't care. It's just brought up CG, and sorry, went down a bit of a rabbit hole there. But anyways, we've got some Hearthstone news to talk about this week. Before we get into that, I do want to remind our listeners out there this episode is also sponsored by Squarespace.com, where you can use the code TAC to get 10% off your first order. Go build yourself an awesome website, and I'm sure Dills will have more to say about that a little
Actually,
later.
no, I'm totally unprepared.
Okay, cool. Well,
It's 11 o'clock for me, man. I have no time. No time to write Squarespace ads.
well, we'll remind folks again a little bit later, but since I have a video intro now, it's kind of hard to add a little pre-read to that because editing, and I'm bad at it. So anyways, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Guys, I can't believe this. Blizzard is awarding top arena players in China.
In
Yeah,
China
wait, what?
specifically.
First of all, what? And
Yep.
Second of all, what?
Yeah. So apparently in China, this was Hearthstone reported on this yesterday. Blizzard is rewarding arena players via a special arena leaderboard that is only available in China. There's no solid info whatsoever on how long this is running, if this is a permanent thing, if it's just going to be happening until BlizzCon. But you get BattleNet points, and you can redeem these BattleNet points for things like packs of cards, a free BattleNet name change, and the big prize is some of the top players will be rewarded with tickets to BlizzCon. And I'm wondering if that also includes flight, because that would be really expensive from China.
I feel like it's got to be just.
It's got to just be the ticket, man.
It
yeah,
can't be
seriously.
the flight too. Like
Like when I win 12, sometimes I don't even get 2 packs. They get friggin' BlizzCon tickets and a plane
But
trip.
that's the thing. I'm like, if this is correct, then they're just gonna. I feel like they're wasting BlizzCon tickets. 'Cause
Right?
It's like, oh yeah, I got this, but I have to spend like 20 times this to actually fly to the event. So I don't know, man. So it's all translated. You know, we're not 100% sure how correct all of this is, but this is nuts. Why don't we have this over here?
Well, this brings up a larger point, and I guess we should just go down the rabbit hole here. But
yeah, I was gonna say this is Dills' arena rabbit hole, so I'm just gonna find out if they get flights or not. Okay, that'll be my job now.
Everyone get ready to go
Yeah.
down Dill's hole.
So an arena ladder we've talked about this on the show before. I think lots of arena players talk about it. I feel like it's a cool thing that could happen, but there's some problems with it as well. And I have some problems with how they're doing this too, because apparently the leaderboard is how many times you got 12 wins, right? At least that's what I'm gathering from this. Not like a win percentage or anything like that. Not here's your record in arena. Like you know we had that whole thing on Reddit where there's the guy compiling the streamers' records and then posting like a top 10. who apparently it came out that he's like a giant douchebag or something like that anyway later. That's another conversation for another time. But, that was a kind of a cool thing. And a lot of the arena streamers kind of embraced it as, hey, now we finally have this kind of competitive leaderboard. But it did change a few things. People, if there was an arena ladder, first of all, you would never again see another priest ever. Like, screw priest, that'll never get picked again. Because if I'm actually like trying to compete for a ladder spot, then arena suddenly changes, right? Now it's like I will always pick rogue, mage, paladin. Warrior is actually pretty good now, but I'll always try to like pick the best class. So that kind of throws things out of whack a little bit too. And then the other thing is, if 12 wins is all that matters, then why don't I just retire every bad draft and just wait until I get really good drafts and then play those, right? I don't know. There's some weird issues with arena, and this is why I want there to be more. I want them to change how it works, focus a little bit more on making it something that can be competitive, and then give us stuff like this.
I mean, you could design it fairly easily where it also takes into account bad runs or quitting. So it deters from just dropping.
Well, that's why I like just a straight record rather than 12 wins. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Well,
it just rewards how many 12-win runs you got. Then what about 7-win runs? Those don't mean anything. Like,
yeah. No, I'm with you there, but yeah, and then the concern that if we instituted something like this in the Hearthstone, that it would have people only playing the best classes. That argument bothers me because it's like, well, then balance around arena as well. That which should already be the case.
But it'll never be perfect. But
well, I know that.
Like we already have that anyway because people just want to win, right? Mm-hmm. But this will just like push it even further in that direction.
Oh, right.
So what you could do though is you could have like a priest leaderboard and a warrior leaderboard and a paladin leaderboard, and you could see like the best players at priest in arena and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool.
They have Warcraft rewards. You can get mounts and pets.
Oh, now Jocelyn's mad.
I'm so upset about this now. Suddenly I care.
I feel like there's a couple things going on here. They have a different model for like paying for stuff, for Blizzard stuff, Like they have like the cards for WoW game time rather than like a monthly subscription there.
Yeah.
So I feel like Blizzard is a little more willing to like try things out in China.
Oh, we've
been going on for a while.
We've seen them try different things in all of their games over there that we've never seen over here in the US. So
yeah.
This isn't surprising that we're seeing something over in China that we're not seeing in North America, but it's still like obviously it gets our creative brains ticked on. It's like, well, cool.
Sure.
Is there a chance of this coming over here? Should it? I think the answer is yes. I'd love to see something like this.
Hell yeah. But I do think that there needs to be, if they really want to go this route where there's an arena leaderboard, and I hope they do, because I do want them to embrace arena as a competitive format in Hearthstone. But like we've talked about on the show, I think there needs to be a little bit of a change to how it actually works. Like me and Garrett have talked about this forever. Like draft 40 cards, then craft a 30-card deck, right? Then suddenly you actually have a way to make it competitive that actually makes sense. It's not just a luck of the draw type of thing. There's choices to be made when you make an arena deck, and then you could actually have people like go up against each other and be. I think Crip has talked about this, that he likes arena how it is, but he understands that it's just a kind of for fun thing. And that's because of how it actually is, right? If it was slightly different, if it was a draft 40 cards, craft a 30-card deck, then you could start to take it a little more seriously and start to take it as more of a competitive format. But as it currently stands, it's like, yeah, sometimes you just get a terrible deck. Sometimes you get an amazing deck and you just stomp everybody. Yes, there's a difference in the best players in the world and not the best players. Absolutely. Nobody's going to argue that, because you see someone like Hafu consistently win a lot in arena, but there's still so much variance that if you were to take one run, anything could happen. Like Hafu's gone 0-3, I'm sure of it.
Right.
And I've gone 12-0, and I'm not nowhere near her. So
yeah.
But it's like, this is cool, and I'm glad that there's something like this happening, because it feels, people sometimes talk to us about how we should talk about arena more. It's like, we would love to talk about arena more if there was stuff to talk about. But it's not really on us that there's nothing to talk about, because nothing really comes out,
No, there hasn't been a major update to Arena really
since they went to 12 wins.
Yeah, the 12 wins was the last big one, and maybe arguably when we found out that when expansions come out that there's a higher chance of drafting the new expansion cards, which wasn't even publicized. I mean, I was stoked that Ben Bro brought it up on our show, but I would have liked to have seen that, hyped.
Yeah, and then even that, like, that's happened every single time they put out cards, right? So it's not even like a new piece of news anymore. It's just, hey, is this still happening? Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. I guess, like, for the latest one, now we are getting 2 packs more often, and it does appear, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, I have not gotten anything but Whispers packs in Arena since Whispers came out.
I think it's still supposed to be random. Maybe you just have.
Well, the only time I've gotten
Whispers
other than Whispers packs is when I got 2 packs. That's the only time. If I get 1 pack, it's always Whispers. So
I've still been hearing from a lot of folks that are just like, yay, more classic packs for my Arena run. Thanks.
Really?
So it must just be you. Yeah, you and your luck.
I guess I'm just getting super lucky or unlucky, however you want to put it. But yeah, I don't know. The thing is, like, I want Arena awards. I want a leaderboard like this. I want some sort of a ladder system, whatever that may be. But I do want it to come along with a change, And if this is, I mean, here we go. Here's something. Yay.
Yeah.
To sum it all up, yay, here's something.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it's out there. Obviously, I think Arena fans are going to climb onto this, and I think there's going to be a lot of discussion happening towards Blizzard about getting something like this in other regions. So we'll see. At this point, I've accepted the speed at which Hearthstone iterates. So I'm definitely not calling for I want everything right now, but I'm anxious to see what might happen in the future with Arena here in the good old NA. So
if this is like a testing ground, then that's pretty cool. I hope that's what's going on here.
I hope so as well. Time will tell.
It does specifically say that going to BlizzCon requires visa, air tickets, and hotel costs borne by the players themselves. So it's literally just an entrance into BlizzCon. It's not. Cool. Yeah, it's not like full flights paid, which I actually for a second thought it might be, because that would kind of work twofold, getting more Chinese players and kind of getting the Chinese scene at BlizzCon, which normally it's very an NA focused event. Plus you would also have like a whole ton of Arena players there, so Arena hype. But no, apparently it's air tickets and hotel are just for the players themselves. So,
by the way, people in chat are confirming only Old Gods packs in Arena.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Confirmed.
Well, there you go.
At least by chat. Chat's never wrong, by the way.
No, never, ever. You have lethal. Well, can't.
Actually, they were right yesterday when I was streaming. They were totally right. Like, you should have just gone face. And I was like, really? And then I went back, like, right after the game, I went back and watched it. I was like, oh, I did have lethal. Yeah, you're right, chat.
Should win face. But other times they're like, you have lethal. I'm like, well, I can't swing with a minion the turn I play it, unless it has charge. So unless I'm cheating, no, I don't. But... anyways, some new Facebook functionality coming to Battle.net. We're going to be able to log into all of our Blizzard games through Facebook, and we're going to be able to stream directly to Facebook via these new features as well. So I don't normally get too excited about Facebook, but I honestly like it surprisingly in other places, and I'm surprised it took this long to get Facebook functionality kind of built into Battle.net.
If there's one thing I do like about Facebook, it's Facebook login. That I do like.
Yeah.
I like whenever that option is presented to me, sign up with Facebook. I'm like, yes, please. That's literally the only thing I use Facebook for anymore. I don't even go to Facebook ever.
Because I do the same thing. I use Facebook for like Facebook login to things, especially if it's something that I'm only going to go to once. I'm like, I don't want to make up a whole other password. I just want to log in with Facebook. And then literally the first thing I thought of when I saw this is I was like, oh my God, I don't want Facebook to know my Battle.net stuff. Oh my God, Facebook's going to know everything. And then I was like, wait a minute. Facebook already knows everything because of that stupid freaking login thing.
Are you on the internet, Jocelyn? Do you use it? Google knows everything.
Over
Facebook knows everything.
Facebook is in all my crap thing. Like, I don't know.
Amazon
there was a time where I was on that bandwagon, but now I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever, dude. Like, what am I hiding? What am I hiding from Facebook? They have all my dick pics already.
What the hell?
I mean, I every time I log into my damn Amazon account, I'm greeted with banana hammocks because I looked for bathing suits once. So thanks, Amazon.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just now I've become like a child of the internet. I'm just okay. They have all my shit, whatever. Excuse me, but like they just have it. It's fine. It's cool. Whatever. I don't care. One thing that's weird about this is the Facebook streaming.
Yeah.
So
My friends and family don't give a shit about streaming.
yeah.
They're just
Well,
like,
but okay. So have you seen
what?
this go live on Facebook? Have you seen this now?
I
It's
haven't,
like periscoping.
but I'm aware of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And you'll be able to do that with BattleNet now. So you'll be able to use
Yeah.
Facebook's Go Live feature and just stream your Blizzard games directly on Facebook.
Which I'm assuming will work kind of like PlayStation streaming or Xbox streaming, where you don't really have the cam unless you like hook all that up and do a bunch of stuff. It's just gonna be like simple, basic. Here's your game.
Here's a game and a microphone.
Yeah, exactly. I'm imagining that's what it'll probably be like. So it's not really gonna be like a Twitch competitor, but I do want there to be a Twitch competitor, man. I'm sure, like, I probably, as a person who streams on Twitch, shouldn't really openly like bash Twitch. But it's not that I don't like Twitch, because they do great. But I want there to be someone to compete with them so that they don't have this kind of we do whatever the hell we want kind of attitude that they kind of have right now.
Agreed.
Yeah, they just do whatever they want, and no one's competing with them in a serious way. So there's no reason for them not to. And I want them to kind of try to be what we want, rather than just be like, hey, we're the cool kids. We don't care. We ban you. We give you partnership. We do this. Oh, who cares? That's Twitch chat being Twitch chat. Like all that kind of stuff is just like annoying. And I want there to be a real competitor. I don't think it's Facebook, but it's something.
I don't think
Whatever happened to YouTube gaming? Does anybody?
They announced it, and then they just like dropped it on the floor. They're like,
have
hey,
you tried?
here it is.
Have you tried streaming to YouTube? It's not user friendly.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. No.
It's also impossible to find someone streaming. Like the way that it actually, I was trying the hardest to find, because Alachia, who does YouTube videos, we were playing Diablo. I'm streaming on Twitch. She's streaming on YouTube, and I was like, oh, cool. I'll go find your stream. And then I went to YouTube and I was like, I have no idea how to find your stream. I just literally don't know how to find it. And then it turned out I just had to go to her channel, like her regular YouTube channel, and it said, oh, by the way, here she is streaming. But I had to scroll down a little ways to find it. And that's how you found it, I guess. There wasn't like a directory, here's people playing Diablo, And I'm sure it does exist, but it just wasn't obvious how to find that.
Yeah, that's the thing I love the most about Twitch is just their browsing on Twitch is awesome. They do a really good job with that.
I can look games. I can look just popular streams. I can look whatever,
Yep.
And so whoever is going to compete with Twitch is going to have to provide that type of experience, right? And plus the chat thing is really important. Have you ever tried like Hitbox or any of those other ones?
I was gonna say, yeah, wasn't Hitbox around for a while? That was like
They're still around.
kind of competitor-ish.
Yeah, but if you go there, like their top stream has like 500 people or something.
Yeah.
But in their streams too, you can put like videos and GIFs and stuff in their chat. But the problem is that's even worse than the dumb emotes.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's like so spammy.
I was about to say, that
It's
sounds...
just porn. People are just putting
That's
porn GIFs.
exactly
That's
where I
all
was-
that's happening.
Are you surprised? Are you really
So
surprised,
instead
Bills?
of like doing a little ASCII penis, we have actual
Yeah.
penises.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Hashtag actual penis.
Why is there always some sort of penis hashtag when I'm on a show? I
Well, I mean...
need to stop talking.
I think it's you, Jocelyn.
I didn't even
That
bring
doesn't
it
happen to me.
No?
I would say in your defense, there's been an uptick in it recently just because we've been talking about Game of Thrones on
That's
Embrace
true.
the Spoilers.
Yeah, so it's not my fault. It's Game of Thrones' fault, and apparently
Game of
porn
Thrones.
in
Sorry.
porn in hitbox chat.
Twitch type chats. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's move on. Hearthstone had a patch since we last recorded addressing a bunch of bugs, some of which were extremely fun, and I didn't know were around. Now I'm sad. One of the ones that they fixed was apparently Redemption will no longer bring back Cthulhu back at its full buffed health value. I did not know this was
what?
happening, and I'm really mad that I didn't.
Is it coming back at like 12/12 or something?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
According to Blizzard.
Okay.
Well, I think it's because it was like some sort of like persistent buff,
Yeah,
right?
that
So
makes
like
sense.
the game was still thinking Cthulhu should be 12/12. So when it's brought back, it's like, well, what is Cthulhu? 12/12. When
I could
the
see it
secret
coming
should
back.
override that. It should be
Yeah.
a 12/1.
I could see it coming back though, where its health is put at 1, but then it still receives the Cthulhu buff. So like it's a 6/1 plus whatever, right?
Yep.
Oh, I see. So it's like plus
know what I
6
mean?
instead of
Yeah.
like just
So-
12. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a 6-1 plus 10-10, so it'd be like a 16-11 or whatever.
I could see that.
Yeah. That wouldn't actually be that weird. If that was how it worked, I would say, oh, okay, that's how it works.
Yeah. I
Because the buff is kind of applied to it after its initial body, right?
I had not even realized that they were gone, but apparently chat bubbles while typing to your friends were gone. They are now back. So I'm glad
Yeah.
to see that. That makes me happy.
Cool. The other thing too, the scaled nightmare I didn't know about. So scaled nightmare, if it had
had
follows
its
the rules, it would peacekeepered, and its attack was set to 1. It wouldn't then continue to double each time. It wouldn't go to 2 the next turn. It would just stay
Oh.
at 1.
It wasn't just for Elder Peacekeeper. It was any type of attack buff, basically. It wasn't.
anytime-
it wasn't
so
working with
anytime it, like,
humility.
changed
It
its
wasn't working
attack?
with priest buffs.
Really.
Yeah.
See, because to me, that's how that card exactly works.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
and-
what
It's
makes
supposed to
that
buff
card
its attack, and then it
potentially
doubles
playable.
like
And
crazy.
that's how it was supposed to work, and it wasn't. There's actually a long Disguised Toast video on it, because everyone just assumed, and this is the issue with having such inconsistent card text in Hearthstone. We don't know when something is a bug, and we don't know when something is Ben Brode going, "You're meant to figure it out." So the
Best Broad impression ever.
the Disguised Toast video was kind of assuming that this was working as intended. So,
Yeah.
and it was not, because it is now fixed. So go double your attack, Scaled Nightmares. Go double your attack.
I still haven't made my scaled nightmare conceal deck. I got to get on that, man. I'm gonna make that happen. It's got to be a thing.
Do
You
it.
scaled nightmare, and then you cold blood it, and then you conceal it, and then the next turn it's like crazy, you know?
Yeah,
Well, now you can actually do that properly.
Yeah.
bring
excited.
it. Bring it. And then final bit of news this week, which if you follow esports at all, I'm sure you've heard, but if you haven't, Team Hearthlytics has disbanded. The owner, RJ Epperson, released a statement, and this is the excerpt we're going to pull from it. He said, we hit our ceiling for sponsorships that could actively work with and provide the results they need to sponsor us monetarily. We work to increase salaries for the players by incentivizing work-related tasks instead of just a monthly stipend. They basically paid them for content creation, winning tournaments, or promoting their sponsors. RJ went on to say that this is where they went wrong. He said, we created a scenario where professionals who were interested in being the best that they can be at a craft were suddenly doing outside game or uncompetitive related tasks too frequently for their liking. This caused a bunch of issues, especially when sponsor related activities didn't get done, and RJ had to answer for that. So that's kind of his breakdown of some of the biggest issues that caused them to not get the monetary support that they needed from sponsors. So Hearthlytics is no more, and this comes on the back of Orange leaving Team Archon, and Team Archon becoming a more streaming focused team.
Yeah. And then there was some stuff about this where some people are feeling like, oh my God, Hearthstone Esports is crashing to the ground, which I think is bollocks. First of all,
There's extreme opinions on both sides of this spectrum, and I think
Sure.
everyone
Yeah.
just needs to calm down.
yeah, absolutely. I'm sad about Hearthlytics. I'm actually friends with RJ. He lived in San Francisco, and I met him at game night and got to hang out with him quite a bit. Some of the people who are on his team were people that came out to that Hearthstone tournament at game night all the time. So I hung out with some of those people, and it was a great team. I mean, they went after really talented players, but they went after players who weren't really big streamers. They just went after the really good players, the good tournament players, the good ladder players. And so they didn't have necessarily high profile names on the team, but they had some monsters of players on that team. Like, people you don't really know of, but were just crushing open tournaments. I mean, Jab was at the...
I was about to say, this sounds a little biased, Stills, because you did get crushed by Jab at...
Well, no, but he is. He's like,
I know.
a guy who always finishes real high. But, a lot of people don't know who Muzzy is. That guy finishes super high on the ladder all the time. But you wouldn't know his name because he's not, he's not Raynad, right? He's not streaming for 30,000 people. So a lot of people didn't know who those people were. But I think really bigger here isn't really that Hearthlytics didn't survive because their players weren't good enough or whatever. It's because when you're pro esports team is just one game, where does your revenue come from? And it has to come through sponsorships, or if you're Archon or Tempo Storm, you're kind of supplementing it with streaming revenue, right? And they don't have that option. So they had to find it through sponsorships and through tournament victories. And that's tough, man. That's not easy to do. So maybe if they branched out or something, but he talked about that it was just their own management mistakes. It wasn't like Hearthstone wasn't viable.
Right.
We messed up. We came up with a bad model.
He talked about diversifying, and it sounds like that is what caused the issue in his mind. So
yeah,
and I mean, looking at their results, I mean, the results haven't been fantastic in recent years. Their biggest placing victory was like a year ago at ESL Legendary season or series, the season 2 finals. That was the most money they brought home from a single event. Everything else is $2,500 or sorry, $5,000 or under.
Well, they had 2 players at BlizzCon though. They were the only team with multiple players at BlizzCon, right? So I mean, it's just, but again, the team doesn't make money because a guy on their team won a tournament, right? Like the player doesn't then go give a bunch of his winnings to the team. The team makes money based on sponsorship deals and stuff like that.
Because they can say, like, look,
bigger, right?
Our guys win tournaments, so they'll be in the finals. So if they're wearing your logo on the shirt, like let's brand them like a NASCAR car.
Yeah, if Cloud9 wins a Heroes tournament, they don't then just go give Cloud9 like, here's your 50%. But Cloud9 is now a name and then can sell things on its own because they have all the teams in all the places. So really, this is why I think Tempo Storm is doing so well, because they branched out into Heroes, into CSGO, and to all these other sports, right?
Yeah, I think it depends too how their agreements are structured and how their team is structured, because it is possible that if somebody on a team wins a tournament that they have to give 10% to the team or something because the team has been floating them for months. Like, it all depends on how the agreements are structured, but from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like Hearthlytics was getting anything back from their players.
No, but most teams don't work that way anyway. But it is like when I first talked to RJ, what he told me Hearthlytics was a program that him and his buddy were making that was going to help you determine why your deck was good or bad, right? So it was going to run that. Yeah, it was going to be like this client that ran and kept track of all of your stuff and was, not only like a stats tracker and stuff for your decks, but also would tell you when you draw this card, you win this percentage of the time. When you play this card, you win this percentage of the time. Here's a graph showing you how far ahead or behind you were as the game went on. Like all these cool features that he was telling me about when I first met him and we're talking about it. I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And then suddenly they pivoted to become just like a Hearthstone team. And I was like, where's the program? What's going on? Where's this awesome program you told me about? And I don't know if they just decided that wasn't going to work for them or if they actually pivoted and decided they wanted to be a Hearthstone team instead. But suddenly they were just signing players and doing all this, and it just seemed to change. So I think really what happened here was just a misunderstanding what they were trying to do, and this didn't work out,
Because it seemed like when you first started talking about them, like you mentioned the program that they were doing, and at the time they seemed like they brought Jab on, and then I think Muzzy might actually have been the next signing that they did, and basically they grabbed these really super awesome unknown great ladder players, and I thought that was them saying we're going to get all of this Hearthstone knowledge and help to build the program, but then you're right, all of a sudden it was woo, esports team, and it was what?
Yeah.
But the lytics part, you lost the lytics.
yeah. You still got that Hearth part.
Yeah.
Where's my lytics, man? But so the funny thing to me is that there's this article came out about this and Orange leaving Archon. These are spelling demise in Hearthstone esports. But really, we have to remember, these are kids trying to create organizations and not really knowing how to do it. And this is really their first stab at it, and it doesn't quite work out perfectly. But those guys are going to try again with something. RJ's a smart guy. He's going to do something else. Jab is a smart guy. He'll be on another team. He's a really good player. They're not failing. This particular thing failed because it's kids trying to make it work. And that's Cloud9 isn't failing. because Cloud9 is like an established esports organization.
They're
With
also
people at the
crushing
top who
and
know how to run stuff.
Cloud9's also crushing in most games that they compete in.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Cloud9's players can just focus on being good at the game because they don't have to focus on building their brand or streaming all the time because they have a larger organization run by people with experience in
People at
whether
the
it's
top
esports
are like
or not.
45. That's the
Exactly.
thing. Like, they're
Yeah,
like men
they're
with
experienced
degrees.
people. They're experienced people in, accounting and marketing and, just general project management, and a lot of both like teams and organizations that are running tournaments. Like, so much of this is done by people that just have zero experience. And it's fine. It's great. We need all these people doing all these things, but it's definitely the big failing in esports right now is that there aren't this like level of experience that, we have to aim for or like to shoot for. It's like everyone's just like, well, I want to do this thing, so yeah, let's announce it, and yeah, we'll try to just scramble and get it done. And it's the scrambling to get it done, which I think is a huge failing right now. So we need that experience pulled from other industries, and teams like Cloud9 have it, and teams like Hearthlytics unfortunately didn't.
Well said. So,
But it doesn't spell any demise. It's like I kind of compare this to it's like being in like a rock band or something. Like a bunch of kids start that, but only some of them work out, man. But the kids have the passion and and the motivation. It's just they don't really know where to go from there. And you can all jump in a van and go driving across the country, but you're not going to come back rich. It's like only sometimes that's going to work. Yeah. But most of them are going to fail. And I think, independent esports teams will see a lot of them come and go. And that's fine. That's kind of just how it's going to work, and it's totally okay. And it's nothing is spelling the end of Hearthstone. Like it was funny. I was in Karma's chat the other day, and she's like, she's not playing Hearthstone, she's playing Rocket League now. And I was like, I just hosted her channel, and I just spent a couple minutes in there. And she's like, "Oh, are you worried about Hearthstone esports? Rocket League's where it's at." And I was like, "I'm not worried about it at all. What are you guys talking about? Why is this suddenly a talking point that Hearthstone is going to die?" Like, it still has so many views. And I don't know. I think a lot of people look at it and they see the randomness and they see it's this kid's card game or whatever. But I think that's another thing too. That's being spoken by players. And it's really stupid to me because like nobody knew who Reynad was before Hearthstone, right? And then he just like craps on Hearthstone. I'm like, dude, nobody knew who you were, man. Why are you crapping on the game that got you here? That's not good business. And, he's done well with Tempo Storm, but I don't like that the player base, like, kind of proliferates this kind of this storyline that, like, like they crap on it's like biting the hand that feeds you a little bit.
This
and
happens.
I think we need to take it more seriously and recognize what it is,
There's a lack of respect for just the game and the industry, and you don't really see that in like competitive traditional sports. Like, you don't see some big hockey player being like, "Oh, the NHL is stupid and this game is stupid." And like,
we would have won, but it's RNG, man.
Like,
the puck just bounced around weirdly.
The puck hit a divot, and so we lost. Like, you don't see that kind of stuff as often. And I think that, for someone to just be crapping on the whole entire game, like, you need to be a little bit more, I think, respectful in order to grow the scene. And I think that that's on all of us, like pros, streamers, everybody.
I'm sitting here as a StarCraft fan not saying anything because I've been through this all before. It means nothing, and it's headline grabbing. Yep. So it's fine, everyone. It's going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine.
You chose a game with RNG, so don't then just like get all salty when the RNG doesn't go in your favor. Like, that's just how it works, right? It's like if I choose poker and then I lose aces, my aces lose to kings or whatever. I'm not going to sit there and blame the game for that. Like, I'm playing poker. I understand what I'm doing here. And, just the whole thing about, RNG making it so that you can't win, or it's a stupid storyline and it doesn't really mean anything. And it's just people like, crying about it. But look, I stream and I sometimes get salty about the RNG, but in the end, I understand that this is, my rag needs 6 chances to hit the right thing.
Yep.
That's just how it works sometimes.
Well, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC before we talk a little bit about literally old gods, not the whole expansion, 4 specific cards. If you dig the show, if you don't think Hearthstone is dying, or even if you do, I don't care. But if you're digging the show, head on over to patreon.com/TAC, and that's where you can support the show. This episode, let's thank Ryan M., Justin F., Scott S., Tom H., Christopher MC, David DK, Sirway Fu, and Kirby M. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it. Now, let's talk about those old gods.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
Dills, you wanted to do this. You wanted to talk about this. You were like, hey, we haven't really sat down and talked about all 4 old gods yet.
No.
And we just went, yeah, you're right. Let's do that. So,
essentially, I think we've now gotten to the point where the expansion's been out long enough. We can kind of look at these cards and really kind of address them in a realistic, with a realistic kind of point of view, right? Because when the last time we really kind of talked about all the old gods was before they were even out, right? Just kind of theory crafting on which ones we thought were good or not. But now we've kind of seen things go in a little bit of a cycle, and I'm just kind of curious to know which old gods we think have legs. Like, do we think any of them do? Are these actually going to last for a long time? I think
they have
the
tentacles,
cycle.
not legs.
What's that?
They have tentacles, not legs.
Okay, sure. We know they have tentacles. Do they have legs though?
No.
So I know. One's just a big eyeball man. Doesn't have legs. So Cthulhu was like the breakout star, obviously.
Well, we kind of saw that coming.
Yeah.
Everyone got one.
Yeah.
And it was very easy to build a synergy around Cthulhu.
Yeah, so I think was Cthulhu the breakout star just because everybody had one?
I think so. I think that went a long way. I think that went a very long
way. It
way.
seems to me that it's not actually that good. It hasn't stuck around as being a card that's actually something you can build a consistent winning deck with,
Yeah.
It was in and out of the tournament meta. I've seen it a little bit since, but not. Mostly people have gone to non-Cthulhu decks after.
Yeah, Cthulhu Druid is the only one I still see, and I think it's because of that 410.
I still see a good amount of Cthulhu Warrior.
We saw
Really?
Cthulhu Priest actually at the last tournament. That was like the only Cthulhu deck we actually saw.
Oh, I just meant ladder.
On ladder. Yeah.
Ladder,
Yeah.
If you're down at the low ranks, though, Cthulhu is everywhere. And I think that will probably always be, at least for the rest of the year of the Kraken, because everyone has it, right? So it's the legendary everybody has. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Cthulhu has legs. I think that Cthulhu is eventually going to just kind of peter out as far as like being a viable tournament deck. It's just you have to draw it, right? It's so good when you do draw it, but you have to draw it. And so the only decks that really work with it is when you know you can draw the game out. You can make the game last a long time. But the problem there is that then you have to fill your deck with these Cthulhu cards that might not actually be the best cards for drawing a game out, right?
Right.
Like
and I think that's why on ladder you mostly see Priest and Warrior.
Yeah.
So they can drag those games out. And oh jeez. Freaking Cthulhu Priest.
Yeah. But the thing is, if I'm going to play like Control Warrior, I'd rather just play Control Warrior, Like I've tried Cthulhu Warrior, but when I went back to just Control Warrior, I was like, yeah, this is better. I don't have to put in all these dumb Cthulhu cards. I can just put in the good control cards and then the good, and then like Grommish. That's how I win. I don't need to put in all these, I don't need to put in the 2/3 and the 2/1 that does 2 damage and all that kind of stuff. I don't have to put those cards in. I can just put in the control card, the removal cards, right? And then I just actually win that way. So
yeah, well, it depends on what your goal is. Maybe you just want to build a Cthulhu deck because you want to build a Cthulhu themed deck. Maybe it's fun for you. I think Cthulhu's still quite fun.
Sure.
Sure. And I mean, my favorite is Priest because it just gets silly with the way, like if God forbid you go up against another Cthulhu player, you can take their Cthulhu and have 2. And if you're running, Doom Caller, you get to have 3. And that just gets to be really fun. And right underneath that, I think in terms of absurdity is Warrior because of how long the games can go. So I find those decks fun. That's why I still have one. I still have a Cthulhu Priest and a Cthulhu Warrior hanging out in my deck list. Although I would say if we're still at 9 slots, probably wouldn't have those hanging around.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So I think Cthulhu Druid I thought was going to be this powerhouse of a deck, and then it just kind of fizzled out. I am playing yesterday. I was playing a Ramp Druid that was still playing Dark Arakoas, but no Cthulhu. I was just playing that because it's a 6 mana 5/7 with taunt. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think Cthulhu is going to even further kind of disappear, and it's not going to be the card that it was like that first week. That first week, it was just like, oh man, is this the meta? It's just going to be who draws their Cthulhu first. That's how it works.
Well, I think everyone was trying it out. It was the old god that everyone had. And I mean, like, I know now the way that I play is I'm playing mid-range hunter. And as soon as I see one Cthulhu card go down, I'm just like, okay, so now I just have to go for your face because I have to kill you before you Cthulhu me.
Happens.
Yeah, so it just changes the play style and it completely telegraphs what your deck is pretty much from turn 2. So... Yeah. You know, like it just makes it so much easier for people to play against it and to answer your Cthulhu before you even get a chance to have that big bomb turn.
Yeah.
I think it does highlight, though, that vanilla-bodied cards are actually bad when they don't do anything the turn they come out.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that. Like, oh, look, a 2/3 for 2. That's actually fine. But the reason why we never played, Crocolisks in our decks is because... there's actually much better things you can do when you can actually affect the board or draw a card or do something that matters. And when you just play a bunch of vanilla minions the entire game just to try to make your Cthulhu awesome, you actually tend to be behind. So just, as it turns out, vanilla minions are bad.
I think Cthulhu is already...
though, I'm curious what you guys' thoughts on N'Zoth is, because I think N'Zoth totally has legs. That card is scary as hell, man. As soon as you realize it's a N'Zoth deck, you're just like, oh, God. Just please never actually draw the N'Zoth, because you have to get through, like, first of all, you have to get through really good cards, right? So Cairn, Sylvanas, these are actually good cards, and then they get brought back for free, and that sucks.
Death Lords. So bad.
Yeah, N'Zoth Priest and N'Zoth Paladin are two very hard decks to play against.
Yeah, and N'Zoth Rogue is pretty popular right now too, because they have the 2/2, the Undercity Huckster, which is actually a fantastic card. And the Priest has the Shifting Shade, which is amazing. So when you add a couple of really good ones in, on top of already having Cairn and Sylvanas, like when you get to put in Tyrion as well.
That's the thing. It's the classes that have the class-specific Death Rattle cards that are quite strong, Paladin, Priest, Rogue, that really excel with N'Zoth.
Yeah. And then you make a deck that essentially then, too, is kind of a tempo deck that can last until the late game. And then you just have this one turn that's it. As soon as all those cards come back, unless you're going to die the next turn, you're just going to win the game. So I really think that N'Zoth, especially in a tournament meta, I think we're going to see N'Zoth for a long time because it's slower, right? And you are going to get more chances to actually play N'Zoth. On the ladder, it can be a little bit tougher because you might just die to the Zoo or the Shaman or the Face Hunter.
I'm also I'm very curious to see how this influences Death Rattle design for the next year and a half at this point. Because as long as N'Zoth is in standard, you're going to have to take into account how strong you build. Team 5 is going to have to decide how strong they design their Death Rattle cards. I'm very anxious to see what Death Rattle cards are going to be in the next adventure and the next expansion.
Yeah, no, it's true. You can't make another card as powerful as Tyrion or Sylvanas. You just can't, man. That's just way too good. The 2/3 little taunter guy, though, I still see that sometimes. And I don't think it's actually that good, but people still play it, and it's fine because when it comes back, it's really good. But the turn you play it, it's kind of weak, right? But without... have you guys played N'Zoth in Wild yet?
No,
I haven't done anything in Wild.
Okay.
I'm so terrible. I have not.
You should get there. It's pretty good.
I'm still just really enjoying my Bubble Pally in Wild.
Okay.
So,
because N'Zoth in Wild is disgusting. Because when you bring back Sludge Belchers too, it's
my god.
Yeah.
That makes me just not want to go into Wild.
Do they make the burpy noise when they come back?
No more.
Do I have to listen to two burp noises when they respawn?
That's a really good card to stall the game out already, and so you get to turn 10 because you have them, and then you just bring them back. And it's like, okay, never mind. When you play against there's a couple classes that can actually do pretty well against N'Zoth, and that's Warrior. With my Control Warrior, I don't care because I just save my brawls, and then I brawl as soon as you N'Zoth, and then that's it. You don't have anything else when that's your only finisher. But I really do think N'Zoth will probably be the card that really, truly does stand the test of time as far as the old gods are concerned. All right, let's talk about Yogg. Because Yogg is actually having a little bit of a... it's like the hipster old god, right? Like, yeah, I play Yogg deck, man.
I'm right
like
there.
that.
I'm right there. I mean, Yogg is, like I said, and I think we talked a little bit about this when he was revealed. I think Yogg Saron is the poster child for Hearthstone.
Very, very true.
Like,
Just
if I-
because of all the crazy effects that can come out of him.
Exactly. If I had to point to one card, if somebody asked me why is Hearthstone, what sets Hearthstone apart from every other card game, and I had to do it, I had to explain it in one card. Show them Yogg Saron.
I mean, I think it's a good card actually. Like it. I don't know if you've had this experience, but someone playing Yogg against you and then you just lose the game. You're just like, damn it.
Oh no, I've never had that experience, Stills. I've never had it ever. Yes, of course I've had it.
So there are games though, because I think a lot of people crafted these decks around Yogg, where Yogg is like the win condition, and I don't think you can really operate that way. You need to be able to win without Yogg, because Yogg can win you games that you were supposed to lose. But if you're relying on Yogg to win, like that's bad. You need to be able to kill them with other ways too. Like
Yeah, he's more of a comeback mechanic than he is a finisher.
that's what I think.
Exactly.
Like, to me, he's like an emergency button where it's like,
Yeah.
I cannot win this game. Yogg, do it. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yellow Yogg.
That's exactly what it is. It's I refute everything that just happened. Hit the button.
Yeah. In case of emergency, break Yogg.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
Exactly.
and then you play it and you go, come on, baby, do it. Let's go, Yogg.
And you're
It's
just
like,
sitting there.
spin
You're
that
cracking
wheel.
your knuckles as you're crossing your fingers. No, I'm with you, Dills. I'm like, Yogg is hysterical and seems jokey the first time you read it, but it has the potential to win you a game you would have otherwise lost. It's a strong card.
Yeah, but again, like the first time I was making Yogg decks, I was making these decks that just cast a bunch of spells, never actually did damage to you, and then I would play Yogg and be like, all right, Pyroblast him 3 times, and that just didn't work, right? So what you need to like actually do stuff, which is why like the Yogg and load decks were actually okay, is because you were Hunter and you could actually be pushing your button and getting them kind of low, and then Yogg could be the card that finishes them off. Or like the Yogg mages, you can fireball them and do all that kind of stuff. And Kabbalah's Tome is actually like a bunch of gas, and there's actually like cool things you can do besides Yogg. But then you get to you get to this point in the game where Yogg is just not a reliable way to actually win. So, but I really think it's Yogg got a little bit popular once some streamers like Savitz kind of spent some time figuring out a Yogg deck. And a lot of like, he is the streamer card, by the way.
Yes.
Like, if you watch like Dog or something like that, he's always playing Yogg decks because it's entertaining
they're
for the
fun,
stream.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. They're very
And it's
entertaining.
only going to get increasingly more entertaining and wild as more and more spells are added to the game.
Oh my god! In like 3 years, Yogg decks in Wild. Hell yeah!
You're gonna have absolutely no clue what the hell's
Hearthstone
going
will
to
be
happen.
dead by then, but
Well, yeah, according to headlines. But no, I dig Yogg quite a bit. I think Yogg is like Yogg Saron is right where I think it needs to be in terms of like how effective it is. Because oh man, it feels bad when you lose to it, and it feels bad when it costs you the game. But I think it's like perfectly crafted in a weird way. Because if it was any stronger, you'd just see Yogg Saron everywhere all the time. Yeah, it's just what a weird card. I don't know. I can't believe this card works. Is really what I'm trying to say.
So I think it does have legs, but like you said, I think Wild in a couple years you'll see this card a lot. As far as standard, probably once Old Gods isn't the newest
The new hotness.
expansion. I think Yogg will kind of die out after that. I think it's super fun right now, but I don't know. All right, now Yashraj. All right.
This card makes me so
Will it
sad.
ever? Yeah.
I was like, because I mean, before the expansion came out, I said I really hope that this card isn't as bad as we think it is, because I want all the old gods to be powerful in their own way. He's so bad, and I'm so sad about that.
I don't know. It's a fun card though. Like it's not. Like, we've talked about this before. Not every card needs to be good. Not every card needs to be strong. And certainly legendaries over the course of the history of the game have proven that no, not all legendaries need to be game breaking or amazing, and auto includes. So I don't look at Yashraj as that, because I don't think that was the goal. I don't think that's what they were trying to accomplish with this old god.
Yeah, it's only because it's like the old gods are like the pillars of the expansion, right? The whole thing is built around the four of them and all the lore and everything else. So, you know, you have your crappy legendaries, but have them be not the old gods.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's okay. I think Yasharaj is fun. It's one of those legendaries that I don't have one, but if I ever get one, I'm not going to get rid of it just because of the fun factor and because of the potential for absurd things in future tavern brawls.
Yeah, I think it's like a brawl card. I think like there is a deck that makes use of it, but the problem is the deck is bad. You know what I mean? So like people always bring up the ramp druid. Oh my god, ramp druid.
Astrocleaning druid, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically druid.
That's a bad deck. So why would you do that? And you can
It's
make
'cause
a really
everything
good ramp druid. You just can't really make one with Yasharaj. So the problem is you pull out like your Ancient of War, and then it's a 5/5 without taunt, you know?
Yeah.
And it just kind of sucks. So
Are there any other? Well, no, I guess Druid's the only one that's really rampy. So you'd basically have to get rid of all the choose one cards, which basically is what makes Druid Druid. So, I don't know. I'm so sad about this god, and I really want it to work, but
If
we don't know though, because when we ask if these cards have legs, maybe in another expansion there's some card that makes this actually good. Like that, it could be possible, or the meta needs to slow down to basically a grinding halt.
yeah.
Where you know you can always get to turn 10 and then this card can actually like win you the game. But it would be fun if this card was good. I think it's okay though that one of the old gods is objectively worse than the other three. They don't all need to be perfectly balanced, right?
Oh, Dillis, you're making me cry so much right now.
There's no, first of all, there's no way that's ever possible. One is always going to be better than the other, and there's always going to be one that's like.
But they should all be at least objectively playable. Like good.
Yeah,
I disagree.
maybe.
I disagree. There's no reason for that to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know. It is powerful when it's played. That's the thing. It is powerful when it's played, but it's just too easily answerable, and it's not. And the deck you have to build doesn't get there enough times, you know,
Right.
to actually work. The deck you have to build to make this card good ends up losing before you actually get to this card. But once you actually do get to the card, it is actually good. It's just getting there sucks, and then sometimes you don't win because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not the only more in the chat room is saying with Yasharaj, you can't use battle cries, choose one, all that kind of stuff. And so basically that means that, you know, either your vanilla cards have to be really, really good or death rattle cards have to be really, really good. And then that comes back to the problem that Garrett mentioned is we can't really make really, really good death rattle cards because then N'Zoth becomes even more powerful.
Well,
so,
also if you're banking on death rattle, why don't you just play N'Zoth instead of Yogg?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could play both for fun. Why not go do it? I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, I don't know. It's
So legs, we don't know.
Yeah.
But currently, no.
hopefully I will keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah. That would be cool, though. That would be cool.
So in summation, Cthulhu kind of shook out to kind of just be the lower on. I would say the star of the lower ladder.
Yeah, it's funny because it ends up being N'Zoth and Yogg that actually are like being played.
Yeah. I think N'Zoth is just objectively. Thank you for your loud motorcycle, sir. I think N'Zoth is just objectively a fantastic legendary, and Yogg Saron has really carved out a niche, but it's a strong niche.
Yeah. So it's I mean I guess we could kind of go back to when we were theory crafting which ones would be the best and say. We were right. N'Zoth was the best one. Like we all kind of knew that from the get-go, right?
Yep.
And then it kind of turned out to be true. So I was hoping that there would be like more surprises around these old gods, but it just hasn't really worked that way. It's just kind of been like, yep, N'Zoth is the best. Oh yeah, look at that. He's the best.
Who'd have thought filling your board with death rattle cards on turn 10 would be really good.
That's the thing about N'Zoth though, is like the deck you build to make him work isn't crap. It's already good. That deck is good without N'Zoth. Right?
He asks you to build a very.
You could put in something else instead of N'Zoth, and it would still be like a fine deck.
All you have to do is build a very smooth road to get to N'Zoth.
Yeah, but N'Zoth just makes it even better. It's like now I can actually build this deck, and then it's, you know, because a lot of times like one of the reasons like Undertaker Priest was really good was that even if you didn't draw the Undertaker, you still played all these really strong minions, right? And they just were sticky and they and priest hero power kept them alive, and you were able to snowball games to victory. It's like N'Zoth kind of feels that same way, which maybe speaks to how powerful Death Rattle is just in general. Stuff happening when it dies is really good because the opponent is forced to kill it. Like, you're always playing into their plan, right? You can't. It's like my choices are either leave this on the board and let it hit my face every turn, or kill it and it does something that they wanted to do anyway, right?
Yep.
So maybe Death Rattle might be OP, actually.
It's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's say thanks Squarespace one more time for sponsoring this episode. Use the code TAC at checkout over at Squarespace. You will get 10% off your first order. All three of us use it for our personal websites. amove.tv is a Squarespace page, so we love them to death. Go check them out. Get a discount. Use the code TAC and support the show in the process. Now, let's take a crazy game story.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
Send your stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Slump Nasty writes in, says, I was in a nasty slump, but then I turned it around for myself, and says, hello, Angry Cluckers. I just experienced probably the best game I've played in quite some time. The deck I chose to use was a Yogg Control Priest deck. Color me interested, Slump Nasty. The game started off in favor of my opponent through some crafty play, as I was able to clear the board and maintain control for a little while. I played a Confessor Paletris. I then hero power to summon a Major Domo. I managed to keep him alive for a little while until he was finally vanquished. I did the inevitable change into Ragnaros. 2 turns later, I played Yogg, which went very well for me. I'm not even sure when I got it. I ended up with a Deathlord in hand that would end up winning me the game. Terrible story. Or terrible story? Yes, I know. I might have been able to make it seem just as great as it was when I experienced it, but I forgot the most epic details. After sitting there for an hour trying to replay the game in my head, I gave up. I know there are ways to record a game. I'm just of the opinion that it would be a lot nicer if there might be one included in the game itself. Not to add to your wish list, but what are your thoughts on the matter? That's already been on our wish list for a long time. We've mentioned on the show many, 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 many times, for the love of God, Blizzard, give us frickin' replays in this game.
Hell yeah. It would be actually, I mean, that would be awesome too, because we could have people send us replays and then we could like, show the damn thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that thing we've mentioned multiple times on the show. Yeah. It'd be nice. Oh man.
the latest video I did on my YouTube is essentially me going over a replay of a game. And it was like, I got great feedback on it. It was fantastic. People really liked it. So yeah, please give me a tool to just do it rather than me having to go back on my stream. And then there's like a little guy in the corner talking and I'm talking over him. And it just got weird,
like,
right?
I thought you were just talking about like
I'm
a
the little
stream.
guy.
Yeah. I was like, who's the little guy in the corner of your Hearthstone? I don't have a little guy. I'm picturing like the paperclip dude from like
You
Word.
can have a little guy. You just gotta, you should just get like when you're streaming, just get a little me in the corner.
Yeah.
I love that your brain went straight to Clippy. Like, I see her. I
was like, did I forget to turn on the help function or something? Where's my little dancing Hearthstone dude?
I see you're having trouble playing back your last game. Let me help you. Go away, Clippy. I'm doing fine, you little bastard.
By the way,
paperclip.
Dills, I totally need that GIF now of you just doing this. Please.
It'll happen.
For just reasons.
Someone get there.
Don't worry about it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's take some emails and wrap this up.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, did you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Spiced Pumpkin came, this actually came to us from our subreddit over at tacpodcast.reddit.com, wrote, when a set is rotated out, Blizzard should consider grandfathering in cards that are either healthy for the game or help preserve an archetype, e.g. Anoyotron is healthy for the game as it is a neutral anti-aggro card that isn't overpowered and is useful to preserve mech decks, which are pretty much dead now. I disagree. Anoyotron alone wouldn't have saved mech decks. That's not enough. And I would rather see Team 5 get creative and make new versions, new minions that fill a very similar slot.
Yeah, like Magic the Gathering has reprints where a card that's just kind of a tool that they need gets reprinted. But they also don't have what Hearthstone already has, which is like, here's this classic and basic set, and they never go away. So like they never need to reprint Fireball, right? It's just here's Fireball. Mage has Fireball. So those cards I think are fine. I don't so like he gives the example of keeping mech decks around. It's like I don't really feel like why do we need mech decks to stay around? Like that was fine. That was a brief period of time and now it's gone. And if you want them, you can play Wild.
I was about
right?
to say they're not gone. They're just in Wild.
Yeah. Everybody talks about them like they're gone. Like they're just gone forever. It's like there's a whole button. You click over there and then you play them all, man.
I would recommend, because I feel like I talk to a lot of players who haven't even attempted Wild, and it is fun, guys. It is fantastic. Get in there and play around, especially if you're missing cards. Like, God, I miss Muster for Battle like nobody's business. And you know what? I go and I play it in Wild, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. It's still really good. Guess what? Muster for Battle is still a good card. You can also go play them in Arena. Those cards are still in Arena.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And the other thing that I think makes this very difficult is Team 5's already set the precedent that they're going to rotate out packs for cards that are not available or not standard legal. So if you never had, say, let's roll with Spice Pumpkin's example. If you didn't have an Oilotron to begin with, how the heck do you get it?
Well, I think the idea of grandfathering the cards, or at least like the idea that he's presenting here, is that a Noyatron would essentially be added to the classic set. So then you would get a Noyatrons out of classic packs.
Oh, I really don't like that idea.
No.
Because then you're inflating the permanent cards. The cards will never get rid of.
And rotation is a healthy thing. I understand like some people look at it and they still kind of like, I just wish it was like this. But rotation will prove, I think, in the end, to just be a healthy thing. Having cards go away forces you to then come up with new ways to do things. New decks exist, and there's constant change and innovation. And when you start grandfathering cards, like I even don't want them to have the classic and basic cards stay forever. I was against that. Yeah, I would rather we always have a rotation.
That's what I do. I do want to say to Spice Pumpkin is I know two of us on the show. I don't know where Joss falls, but are definitely biased on this subject matter. Dills and I definitely fell more in the Brian Kibler camp of this would be a lot more interesting if we got rid of everything.
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence in terms of that, because I feel like once we see what a full year in Hearthstone looks like, we'll have a better idea of how much, like how many different decks, how much the meta is going to shift, all that kind of stuff. And that will kind of dictate how I feel about keeping classic cards. I think classic cards are a really good way for people who've been away from the game to come back. So I like that idea that they don't have to start from scratch all the time. So I don't know. I think we have a really healthy meta in Standard right now. So I don't really see the problem with having that big chunk of classic cards staying, because it's not like with all the nerfs that they did, I don't feel like there's any set decks anymore for any specific classes. Like all the classes seem to have a lot of different choices to make, and I like that. So I don't think it's as big a problem having a big chunk of classic cards as maybe you thought in the beginning.
Yeah, I've heard people say too, like that they wish Echo of Medivh was still around or things like that, and even Ixar was saying, yeah, we did like cards like that. Maybe we'll find ways to keep them around. But to me, I still say the same thing, where Echo of Medivh is in Wild, man. Go play Wild. It's awesome. It's like I feel like it's okay for them to. Those cards existed for their time, and now they're in Wild. And if you want to play with them, you play with them there.
And Wild has a ladder too, which is something that has all the same rewards except for not the Hearthstone Championship points. So if you want to get all the rewards and you want the ladder up experience and you want the legend card back, you want to be legend, like all that stuff happens over in Wild too. So, I mean, you don't necessarily have to play Standard unless your goal is BlizzCon.
Yeah.
No,
if you like the old cards, go play with the old cards.
I'm also not against the idea of reprints. And I prefer that idea because it means that those cards are not permanent.
Sure.
I would be fine if 2-3 years down the road, say Shielded Minibot comes back. I'm totally not getting into my Paladin cards that I miss like crazy right now, by the way. I've already mentioned Mustard, now I'm mentioning Shielded Minibot. But I like that idea better because, like I said, then they're not permanent. Then they rotate out again after a certain time. I'm really I'm not on board whatsoever for inflating the classic and basic card set.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think you don't even have to reprint them exactly. You can just make a version that's similar but does something slightly different,
Yeah.
Like we have Blood Warriors and Echo of Medivh. They're two different cards that kind of do a similar thing but in a different way.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
It's totally fine to just keep doing things in that kind of manner, I think. But But I hope
those are
that
different classes too, because that was mage versus now it's with warrior. So
yeah.
that's it's interesting to see it kind of change hands as well.
Mm-hmm. I hope Spice Pumpkin doesn't think that we're like crapping on this idea, because maybe it
No, I
sounds
just
like we
thought it
are.
was-
I
it was
just
interesting to talk
disagree with like I think we all agree that cards that do similar things are good, and you can bring back cards that are really fun and useful and just kind of are healthy cards in a different way, rather than just pushing them into like, okay, now this card lasts forever. Like that, that I think is the wrong way to go about it.
Yep. I'm with you. Dilge, you want to take the next email?
Yeah, this one comes from Jean Gabriel, who says, "Greetings, the surfer, the biker, and the beauty. First, your interviews are great. Please interview all the people. Thank you."
What?
I'm totally the biker. I don't know about you guys.
Who's
I'm
the
so
surfer?
badass. I
Has anyone here
I the
surfed
surfer?
before? Has
don't
anyone?
know. I'm not sure.
Has any one of us surfed in their life?
Nope.
I have. I was terrible at it.
So there you go.
There you go. I guess I'm the surfer then.
All
so
right.
Garrett, you're the beauty.
I also had a motorcycle, so am I the biker also? I mean, I'm also pretty good looking, so I guess I'm the beauty. Okay, this guy's talking to me.
Yeah, it's just all for you.
Second, okay, first, your interviews are great. Please interview all the people. Second, I was wondering why players can't change their decks during an event. A neat thing about watching the Dota International was seeing the meta shift before your very eyes as the event progressed. Would it be nice to see how players adapt to the micro meta of an event by getting a deck tweaking period before matches or something? I'm sure there are good reasons why this is a terrible and stupid idea. Feel free to use magic as much as you want and telling me why. Thanks. P.S. I started a drinking game for every time one of you is sick, and I died of liver failure. Really? Are we sick that often? That feels wrong, dude. I don't think that's... Yeah. I mean, Garrett, you were sick, and then Jocelyn, you were sick, but...
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
You're next, Dills. You're next.
Two times people got sick and you died of liver failure? I think your liver has problems
drank the whole
outside of
bottle,
you drinking
yeah.
twice. So yeah, I think we've, what he's talking about is essentially sideboarding. Yeah, sure.
Well, kind of sideboarding, and kind of like if I say when I start the tournament that I'm going to play like Warlock, Mage, Pally, why can't partway through I decide I'm going to drop Pally and pick up Warrior? I think is the.
I mean, you could if that's how they wanted to structure a tournament.
Yeah, I think it's more a question of just format.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
like you could just everyone can do it, and then yeah, sure, things change over time. I mean, that's if you think about it, like, it's just like ladder. Like if I'm not doing well on the ladder, I switch my deck, right? So
right.
I don't know. But I think a lot of times people
want to see.
Well, people want on the tournament, they want it to feel structured, and this kind of feels really loosey goosey, right? And so, but it is true. Like that could be an interesting tournament format. Absolutely, it could. As the tournament goes on, you realize a lot of people are playing a certain deck, and you feel like you want to counter it. So then you switch, and then other people start to switch too to re-counter, and you're playing Overwatch. So.
All
yeah,
things circle back to Overwatch.
It's just you need to draw your line somewhere, and the format needs to be set in stone before the event starts. So it's up to the event organizers. I don't see any reason why something with complete and total freedom wouldn't be a thing. But I would find it a little more interesting if you had to stick with your class and had to bring a sideboard, X amount of cards that you can swap in and out between games. But
I think that makes it easier from a broadcasting standpoint. Like if the casters know ahead of time what your decks are and what your sideboard is, and what decisions you may or may not have made, I think that makes it better from a broadcasting entertainment standpoint. But from a player standpoint, I don't really see why you wouldn't want to just have complete freedom to do whatever you wanted with your decks. I think it's kind of cool.
I mean, I think if there was complete and total freedom, you would probably not see as much switching around as you think.
No, probably not. People would still play
possible.
the decks that they're best at.
That they're comfortable with, yeah.
Yeah, because you're still going into unknown quantities, so you're going to play the strongest decks. So that's why I think it would be a little more interesting to have a sideboard, because it's like when the players are going to probably still play the decks that they think are the best and are going to play, but it'd be cool if there was a little bit of variation possible between them. However, Dota, I mean, MOBAs in general is such a different type of game that we're talking about here. I mean, you're talking about a 5 versus 5 team-based game with no mirror matchups as a possibility. So it's I don't know. It's hard to compare the two.
This does bring up another interesting issue, which is people comparing Hearthstone to non-card games, which seems to happen a lot. It was happening a lot in this debate about Hearthstone as an esport, right? I was reading through the Reddit stuff, and people are like, "Oh, but you see, like the best teams in Dota win like 80% of their games, and Hearthstone's only like 60%. So this game sucks." It's like, dude, the two games are not the same, man. They're just not, and you can't compare them. You're not going to get a 1-for-1 ever with these two games. His comparison here isn't necessarily like an incorrect one. He's saying like this is a cool thing to watch in Dota, but it's not necessarily going to transfer perfectly. Like if it's cool to watch in Dota, it might not be very cool to watch in Hearthstone. It's like when we watch Heroes, we watch the draft, and that's really interesting. And when you watch things like Dota, you see that draft as well. But what if like at the beginning of every match, people drafted like Leroy Jenkins? It's like, oh, I got Leroy Jenkins, and then I banned Nazoth for you, and now we build a deck. Like maybe that would be an interesting tournament, but would that be the tournament you'd want to build your entire competitive scene around? Probably not. That would just be like a fun tournament for every now and then.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would just like to, we've talked about it before, and recently, as a matter of fact, I would just like to see more formats. So
exactly, yeah. So I think we all agree this could work, but it's just not. This wouldn't be the only format.
Yeah,
it'd just be one of many.
Yep. Josh, you want to take the final not email because it's also a Attack Reddit post?
Absolutely. This one comes to us from Clockwork Necktie. It says, "Dear amply alliterated avians, I wonder if it'd help the ladder meta if you could ban a single class like you can in most tournaments. So if I'm really sick of facing Shaman, I could just ban Shaman well on ladder. Might even have a balancing effect on the meta because Shaman players would only be up against people who are ready to beat down the most prominent meta decks, meaning that less played archetypes like Control Shaman would have a chance to shine. Eh? So what do we think about bans on ladder?"
No. This is the episode where we crap on all your ideas, people. This is bad. This would be bad for a few reasons. One is like, okay, I guess he's the example of Shaman, right? But like you just change what everyone's playing, and then everything gets all screwy that way too. And then there'd be some other new deck that you're sick of playing against, and I don't know. It just doesn't get rid of the problem, first of all. And you just start making things really. I don't know. I don't
It just makes things weird, and you don't want things to be weird.
I don't mind things being weird, but like on the ladder, I don't know. So then
it's very different too.
If I'm playing Shaman, what I can never like, if my queue time takes forever now because everyone's banning my class, like.
Also, what if you're
Shaman? It's just going to be all Shaman mirror matches.
What if you're Shaman and you ban Shaman?
You just never get to play.
It could have a pretty detrimental effect on queue times. We're talking about an extreme scenario where literally every player banned Shaman, which is unlikely to be the case.
Yes.
But
there are literally millions of people playing. So what are the chances they all ban Shaman?
But yeah, in terms of doing this to make it more similar to tournaments, it's very different. You get to see the X amount of classes like lineup that your opponent brought, and you can make an informed decision on what class to ban next, and then you're going to play them in a best of 3, best of 5, depending on the tournament, and that's very different from ladder. I think Xing out one class entirely from the potential classes that you're going to go up in queue. I don't know. I think that'd just be bad for the game in the long haul.
I wouldn't ban Shaman. I'd totally ban Priest.
Well, I mean, that's everyone would ban something different, but it changes like the type of decks you play. It just changes too many things. Ladder is just ladder, man, and it's it is what it is. It's fine.
Hashtag deal with it.
Yeah. So, but let's have some fun with this. Dills, what class would you ban if you could?
Ooh. I mean, it depends on what deck I'm playing. I would always just base it on the deck that's like.
Okay, so say you're playing Milkshake. What do you ban?
Oh, God. If I'm playing Milkshake, I guess I ban Shaman because they just kill my face before I ever get to deal with their stuff. But probably I would ban Rogue most of the time.
Yeah.
Once they conceal that Auctioneer, man, things get ugly quick.
Feels bad.
That's why you play Hunter and you have Deadly Shot, and then the Rogue cries, and then you're like, I love your salty Rogue tears.
That's why I'm still playing Nazoth Paladin, and I hold on to one equality.
Someone was just talking about today. Oh man, what was the card that used to Tinkmaster Overspark? They're like, just put Tinkmaster in your deck, man. They play the Auctioneer, they conceal it, and then you Tinkmaster.
And Even if they get the devil sword, that's still better.
It's not an auctioneer.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Jocelyn, what would you ban?
Oh, priest.
Priest.
Totally priest. Yeah.
I think I might be ban priest too.
They get so close to dying, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna win, and then they're like, no, because Healy things, bang, bang, bang. And
Also,
I'm like,
also that really good card in your deck, it's mine now.
yes, and they always steal the best thing somehow. I thought steal and get like 1-drops. They thought steal and get my win conditions.
Yep. Hey, at least you get 1-drops. I get deadly poison. So.
That's so bad.
Then you just gotta thought steal the their weapon too.
Their weapon,
and you're good to go.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's
Like
Or
rogues,
Sir
everyone
Finley.
weapons. That's the
I
problem.
Sir Finley into the dagger. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I would probably ban blue decks if I could ban in my local Magic games, and I would probably ban priest for the same reason. Feels like they're cheating. Even though I love playing priest, but yeah, I could do without playing against them. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. Want to remind everyone, you can head on over to the justpodcastawards.com right now. Go down to Games and Hobbies and vote for The Angry Chicken as the best games and hobbies podcast for the Podcast Awards this year. You can vote once a day up until June 12th, which is this upcoming Sunday. So please, if you dig us, if you like what we're doing, go to podcastawards.com every day, vote for The Angry Chicken in Games and Hobbies, and don't forget to verify your vote on your email or else it doesn't count. Also, check your
spam folders, because that's happened to me a couple times.
Yep. Also, if you would like to support all of our fellow friends in podcasting, go to hat.t2t2.eu to see all of our other friends from various networks who are up for Podcast Awards as well. So go check that out. We appreciate it, guys. Really, we do. Thanks again to our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. Thank you for supporting the show. If there's a new Brawl this week, we'll be back this Thursday with a Brawl episode. Maybe if we're not all seeing the Warcraft movie. I just realized. Crap. We'll figure it out. Anyways, check that out. Keep leaving us iTunes reviews if you listen on iTunes and you like the show. Thank you to Dr. Hazmack. Thank you to JMBW with more ones than you really need to have at the end of your name. Thank you to B. Tatro and StarCraft Dad, who said, if you ever have all three of these guys on the board at the start of your turn, you get to summon the Ancient One. So
Nice.
Good to know. You can find more about the show over at amove.tv. You can find all of our past episodes at youtube.com/amovetv. Huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H., Peter Williams, and King Louie. Get our swag over at bit.ly/amovestore. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast, and catch us live Tuesday nights at 4 p.m. Eastern, usually. There was a change today because of certain people getting to see Warcraft early, and I'm totally not jealous. But you can check us out at twitch.tv/amovetv. Dills, where can folks find you?
You can check me out on Twitter. I am at Willie Dills, and twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. Won't be streaming for the next couple days because I will be in Dallas, but when I get back on Thursday, we'll have a nice long stream again. And go check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/WillieDillsSF. There's a brand new video up about playing from behind and why you should keep trying even when you're losing.
And he's not just talking about playing Rogue.
Yep. In fact, it's Control Warrior that I'm playing in the video. But yeah, basically, I'm going to start doing some more of these types of videos too. I've been asking for feedback from like my patrons and people who follow me on Twitter and stuff. And so I'm going to try to incorporate some of your guys' ideas into some of these videos. And one of them was something that's like delves into a specific thing about a Hearthstone game or whatever. So like I'm calling it Hearthstone Fundamentals. And there'll be a bunch more of those coming. So if you are interested in that, check out the YouTube channel.
Nice.
I have to go watch those.
Jocelyn, where can folks find your stuff?
You can find me right here on AMove TV every Wednesday night. We are trying out a new time slot at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Gamers In. You can follow me over on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays, and links to everything that I do is over at jossplays.com.
Nice. You can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art. There's 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett, 1 R and 1 T in Art, but I shouldn't have to tell you that. You can find me talking Heroes of the Storm on Into the Nexus, talking to myself on The Angry Nerd. But really, everyone's probably playing a little Overwatch right now, so go check out Overwatchers with Patrick Beja, Chan Man V, and myself. Go check it out.
And embrace the spoilers.
And embrace the spoilers. Damn it, too many damn shows. You know what? Just go to AMove TV and subscribe to everything. All of it. And don't forget about CreateCon. We're doing a live Angry Chicken from CreateCon right here in Orlando on July 30th. Go to createconvention.net for tickets and details. Still some tickets left, folks. come on out. It's going to be fun. So that's going to do it. Thanks again to squarespace.com for sponsoring us. Use the code TAC to get 10% off your first order. That'll do it for this episode. Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes! Going to see Warcraft.